Hi everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel. Now, I'm not sure where I'm going to go with this video, but it's been one that I've wanted to make for a while because I think I've got some important messages in there, and also it's going to be quite a funny story. But if you don't like chatty videos, this might not be the video for you. I know that some people think that I talk too much. I don't know where they get that idea from. So if you do think that I talk too much, this is definitely not the video for you. But if you do want to see some really hilarious pictures of me growing up, then you may want to stick around. If you haven't noticed, although I never know whether it's noticeable, I don't know, but I've had my hair done. When I got back from Monaco, I went straight to the hairdressers and I got my hair refreshed and had a bit more blonde put through, and I'd also had a treatment previously. I'd gone and had the Olaplex treatment, which is a big part of how I get my hair to this colour. But basically I'm going to go right back to day one and I'm going to tell you all about my hair story, the different stages, what I did to it, what I did wrong, all of the problems that I've had, all of the issues, how I got to this point, and some really funny pictures in between. So without further ado, let's go straight back to day one and talk about my hair. So as a child, I was actually quite lucky and I was born with pretty much a full head of hair. Like, I think that I had better heads of hair than some adults. I was really lucky that I had two parents that had great heads of hair, and yeah, it's just one of those things that I think that you're kind of born with. If you've got like good genetics, you can have like a really good head of hair. I was just one of those lucky people that two very hairy people found each other and made me. So that is how I generally get my hair this thick. It was quite thick and dark when I was born, but as I started to grow up, I developed these really beautiful natural highlights that, oh, they were such gold. I am devastated that I don't have them anymore, because literally people pay thousands for highlights like I had growing up. So I'm so annoyed that I don't have them anymore, but I have the next best thing. So but yeah, I had this like beautiful long blonde hair as I was going through primary school, and when I got into secondary school I started what's the word experimenting with my style, and I actually got into sort of more alternative types of music, and I started reflecting that in my hair. So I think I had pink highlights and green highlights and everything in between, and it was good fun. I didn't do too much damage, although I did it at home with bleach. Like, my god, what was I thinking? But I was doing it at home myself. Oh, I think because my mum always did her own hair at home, she was always dyeing her hair from box dye, so I think I just thought that that was normal. Unfortunately, I shouldn't have been doing that. Once I'd kind of got out of that stage, I left my hair alone again and actually just let the natural colour come through, and I just let it grow and left it alone up until the age of 18. The age of around 17, 18, I had a boyfriend that was quite alternative. He had lots of tattoos and was into skateboarding and stuff like that, and I think that my style kind of reflected that stage in my life. And I started getting quite funky haircuts, and I started off with a short bit around here. So everywhere was long, but I just had this like short sort of thing around here. And then that developed, and I went to a hairdresser's in Northampton who essentially just shaved the sides of my head, and I had a mullet, and it was like, yeah, blonde bits in it, really nice colour, but yeah, I had a mullet. Bless my dad, because I just went in to get a haircut and I walked out with that, and I walked up to him and I was like, Dad, I think that this is the best haircut I've ever had. And he was like, looks lovely, darling. Poor him, he was such a good dad, like just like, yeah, if you like it, I like it too. But yeah, it was a nightmare, and I think I had it for 2 months, and everyone was saying to me like, it's nice, like I think you're the only person that could get away with it. But I think that they were just being nice, because it didn't suit me at all. Now I look back at pictures and I'm just like, what is that? Like, what did you do to your hair, Lydia? I literally had a mullet, and I had it for 2 months, and then a very kind person sent me a picture of my hair before I went through that stage, and I had just like, it was all like brown and little bits of like highlights in it, and I was like, oh my god, what have I done? What have I done? So I started buying hair extensions, you know, the like wefts that you have that you could like sew clips to, but no one had started sewing clips to them yet. They were just gluing them to their heads, so that was what I was doing. I started gluing these wefts to my hair, and oh, it was horrible. Like, if they didn't just fall out by themselves, I was literally having to like rip my hair out to get them out when they were coming off. It was just awful. I am just so glad that my dad recognised that they were not good for my hair, and actually he ended up paying for me to have the little blonde extensions, and I got those just to let my hair grow back, and I think I had them for like 2 years, and that was the best decision that I ever made in terms of getting my hair back to where I wanted, because it literally meant that I just left it alone. Like, I was happy with my hair, so it didn't feel like I was sat there watching it like, is it growing, because I was very, very happy with my hair. I actually really liked having extensions. I was really good at upkeeping them. I would always spray them with hairspray to like dry them out, and I went to a really, really great place in Croxley Green called Head Talk, and they did them like really small, and they just looked so good. They were the best extensions I'd ever seen. And so I had those for 2 years, and then I had them taken out one day and I just left my hair alone. And when I say that I left my hair alone, I literally left it alone. I didn't go to the hairdressers, I didn't get it cut for about 9 years, but I did get it coloured, and I got it coloured around the time that I started my blog. So if you've read my blog for a few years, you might remember that I had an ombre look that actually wasn't ombre at all. It looked like someone had dunked my hair in a bucket of bleach. I had like black, blonde. It was horrible. But again, I loved it for a very, very long time, and I went back and I got it done, but I still never got my hair cut. And I had that for about 2 years until it reached the point when I was getting ready to graduate. And I realised for my graduation that I wanted to have something a little bit more sophisticated, and I wanted to go back to a more natural colour. So I went in there to have my hair dyed, and that was the very moment that everything went wrong. So I sat in the chair and they told me that in order to get the blonde back to a brown colour without it going green, they would have to put lots of red through the ends of my hair, which was absolutely fine. I just wanted it to be done properly, so that's fine. I just said to them, as long as I wasn't going to be left with red hair, then that's fine. And they had to kind of massage it into the hair. And as they were massaging it into my scalp, it started to burn a bit. But it was fine because it was coming off at that point, so they'd done everything that they needed to do, and now all they needed to do was just dry my hair and I could leave and forget that it ever happened. But as they were drying my hair, it became apparent that something had gone wrong, and the roots of my hair were blonde, and the midsection of my hair had gone jet black, purpley kind of colour, and the ends of my hair were still orange, and I looked like a Roundtree fruit pastel. When I woke up the next morning, my scalp was actually stuck to my pillow because it had weeped so much in the night. And I went back to the salon after that, and they basically said that they couldn't do anything to help me, and I was a bit kind of like, I know I've had an allergic reaction, but there must be something that you could do. So they actually got the head of the Rush Academy on the phone, and I can't remember what his name was, but he was a real sensitive chap. And basically he told me that they would sooner stick a gun to my head than dye my hair, and I'm sure his words could have been better chosen. Perhaps he was having a bad day. But basically they weren't going to fix my hair. My hair was such a big part of who I was that I just felt ridiculous. Everything just looked awful. It was just such a bad job, and I was just left in a position where I had to take matters into my own hands and dye it myself. And I remember that my mum always used to use this dye from Holland & Barrett, so I just went and bought it, and it was like a henna vegetable dye, so I thought that that would be quite gentle and natural on my scalp, and I wasn't going to have an allergic reaction to it. So I bought the hair dye, and I bought sort of like a dark brown colour, and I just thought I'm just going to put it all over my hair and just leave it at that. And I popped it all over, and weirdly enough it was fine. I didn't have any reactions or anything, and my hair looked great. I had no idea what was in the dye, I had no idea what I was doing, and for the next 2 or 3 years I dyed my hair myself, and I think I did it like every sort of other month. I was doing all over colour, it was permanent dye, and it was henna, and I had no idea what I was doing. So obviously after a certain amount of time my hair started to get a really bad colour build-up, so that even when I dyed the roots of my hair, they were never the same colour as the length of my hair. So I would have like these sort of greyish roots, and this was like jet black, claret red, and I just hated it. So I started going to a few salons just to try and like get them to maybe lift it a little bit, and it became apparent that this wasn't going to be any normal job. Like, I think you would need sort of special expertise in colour correction, because I went through a couple of stages where my hair just ended up really, really red, and I then had to dye it all black again, and I was just so unhappy. I didn't feel like my hair represented who I was. It made me look harsh and angry, and I just didn't actually have much confidence because of it, because I just didn't feel like me, I didn't feel like Lydia. And I think that that's what happens when something isn't reflecting your style and you can't change it. So I was really, really stuck, and I just didn't know what to do anymore. I tried everything. Then an email fell into my inbox. She offered me the opportunity to come down and have my hair done at a salon in London. And basically she got a frantic email back saying, can you help me? Basically, I explained the situation, I explained where I was with my hair, and I just did not know what to do. I was lost. I was lost when it came to my hair, and this may seem like such a trivial thing to most people, but I think that anyone that's ever had a bad hairdo or a bad haircut will understand where I'm coming from, that you don't know what to do next, and that was where I was. I sent over my entire hair history with pictures, and I walked into that salon that day and they had no idea. They had no idea what they were dealing with. They thought that I was just coming in to have a quick hairdo and that was it. And it was at that point that I met DESPINA. DESPINA was going to be doing my hair that day, but she hadn't been sent my hair history. She had no idea what I was having done. I wished I had a picture of when I told her that I had henna on my hair, because she was just like, you have what on your hair? Why did you put that on your hair? Anyway, she turned to the person next to her and just said, clear my diary, I'm gonna start working on this girl's hair. And I was in that salon for 9 hours. The girl had never met me before, and I could have been anyone, and she just cleared her diary like that and spent 9 hours working on my hair. And it was quite a traumatic experience, I'm not gonna lie. I fainted, I had funny turns, I thought I was gonna be sick, because it was just so stressful for me. I had so much hope pinned on this visit, and I was sure that at the end I was gonna end up with hair that I hated again. DESPINA, I love you, girl, and I know that you've done amazing stuff to my hair, but I just thought I was going to be disappointed, because I was always disappointed. So at the end of that 9 hours, it was like 8 o'clock, the salon had closed, and I looked in the mirror and I cried. As far as I was concerned, DESPINA had achieved the impossible. She had lifted my hair from over-dyed black red hair to a natural brown colour, and I didn't feel like it was really red. I felt like it was natural looking, because that was always what I wanted. I always wanted my hair to look natural. I couldn't believe that she'd done it. I've never been so thankful for anything in all my life, and I thought that that was it. You know, I got to the point where I was happy with it. I just wanted to be brown again. But it was the start of a wonderful friendship with DESPINA as well, and she now does my hair whenever I want her to. However, now DESPINA is the only hairdresser I will let touch my hair. She is incredible. I follow her wherever she goes. If she gets a new job or anything like that, I go with her, because I've never been disappointed. I have never gone to see her and thought, this is not what I wanted. Every single time I go there, I walk out with a new lease of confidence, and that was the first lesson that DESPINA taught me. It was that finding a good hairdresser shouldn't have a price. I don't doubt that there are some amazing hairdressers out there, but to get a certain level of service, as well as the colour that you want, in the technique that you want, as natural as you want, it's the same with anything. If you want a really nice car that drives really well, that's smooth, that comes with all the bells and whistles, you tend to have to pay a bit more, and I tend to think the same way about my hair. And I tend to think the same way about my hair nowadays. I really use Salon professional products, give or take a mask here and there. I do love masks, so sometimes I'll just buy a big tub of something and just whack it on my hair. It's really important to see professionals and specialists when it comes to your hair, because I believe that you get what you pay for, essentially. That is the long and short of it. So yeah, then it became apparent that I actually wanted to continue going more and more blonde, and the only way to do that really nowadays without doing too much damage to your hair is to use a treatment called Olaplex, and I am sure that you will have heard of this so many times because everyone goes on about it. So if you don't believe me when I tell you that this product is amazing, then all you have to do is go and read blog after blog and watch video after video about how amazing Olaplex is, because basically that is the only reason why I'm able to go this blonde. Repairs any of the damage done to my hair and rebonds all of the proteins in your hair so that it's not shriveling up and dying every time that you bleach it. My hair is still really, really soft, and I basically owe that all to Olaplex. And how you have Olaplex is you go into the salon and you have the treatment in salon, and then you can go home with the at-home number 3 treatment and continue the effects of the Olaplex afterwards as well, so that you're constantly repairing your hair and making sure that it's soft and supple at all times. But it's now been over a year, and I've probably seen DESPINA about 10 times, and each time we've gone more and more blonde. And it's been a very, very long process. One of the questions that I always get asked is can you go from black henna to blonde in one sitting? And you absolutely cannot. You cannot, unless you just want to have to cut your hair off because it will be dead. It's a process, and you go a little shade lighter each time, and you let your hair adjust and repair after the treatment, and then you go a little bit lighter, and then you let it repair, and you do lots of treatments, and then you go a shade lighter, and you just continue to do that over the next few months. Soon you reach a point where you're like, I think I'm there. Although I will say that I feel like I reach that point every single time I go to DESPINA, and I get even more amazing results. So never say never, but yeah, it is a process. You do have to be patient, and if you aren't patient, you could end up completely destroying your hair. So I would definitely suggest just being realistic and taking it very, very slowly. I'd also say stay away from henna, because that makes the process a hell of a lot longer. But yeah, so this is the point that I'm at with my hair now. It's been quite a journey, and there has been a lot of bumps in the road and a lot of embarrassment and a lot of bad haircuts. I'm seriously questioning the friends that I have in my life right now, because why didn't anyone tell me how bad those haircuts were? But the moral of the story is, for me, is that you need to find a hairdresser that you can trust, a hairdresser that has the skills to create the look that you have, and also knows your hair, because if you're constantly flipping between hairdressers, you're never going to have that relationship with someone that actually knows your hair, that understands how your hair is going to react. Obviously, this is all just my experience when it comes to hair, and I really, really hope that none of you have had as bad experiences as I have in the past. I hope to God no one else has had a mullet, that's for sure. But I really just wanted to get the point across that in order to get your hair to a point that you really want and that you're really happy with, I would always suggest letting a professional do it. You do not have to suffer with hair that you're not happy with or that you're not comfortable with. There are always options, and if any of you are interested, I know that so many of you go and see DESPINA now, which is just incredible, but if there's anyone out there that lives sort of locally, or even if not, I know that some people have travelled from like Ireland just to get their hair done by DESPINA, which is just insane. But she's worth it. She's absolutely incredible, and she is one of the most talented hairdressers I've ever come across, and she's actually Colorist of the Year. So if you don't believe me, then her award says that she's basically the best colorist in the UK. So you can't argue with that. But I have popped all of the details to DESPINA in the description box below, and also links to lots of my favourite products, like my favourite hair masks, serums, conditioners and shampoos. If you are at a point where you think that you want to spend a little bit more money on your hair and see someone that's truly amazing, then I would definitely suggest booking in with DESPINA, and I've popped all of her contact information in the description box below. But other than that, we're at the end of my hair journey, I guess. Well, for the moment anyway. I'll probably be seeing her in 6 months' time and be even more blonde. But I hope that you have enjoyed this video and found it as informative as possible, and if anything else, you've laughed at the pictures of me with my really bad haircuts. But if there's anything that I've missed off, please don't hesitate to ask in the comments below, and also just let me know if you loved it by giving it a thumbs up. And whilst you're down there, you can also hit the subscribe button, because we hit 90k! Woo woo! But other than that, I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!